What's up? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Caela, and today I'm going to be talking about what it was like to wear hearing aids or being hard of hearing slash deaf as a kid, and kind of what my experience was, who kind of shaped me as a hearing impaired individual that I am now and today. So background, I am 22 years old. I graduated from University of Tampa, and I was born deaf. And then I grew up hard of hearing, and it's always been a part of me. I was really fortunate enough to have parents that knew the education system. My dad was a principal, and my mom used to be a gym teacher. Now she's the director of physical education and health. So they've known, and they also worked in special needs schools. So they kind of understood IEPs, just everything, the Disability Act of 1990, kind of everything about education, my parents were experts on. So as soon as they found out I was hard of hearing, and it then started affecting my schoolwork, and coupled with my learning disabilities, I also have auditory processing disorder, which some people have, and it kind of seems like they're hard of hearing or they can't hear, but it's kind of just I like to explain it as, first of all, if I hear information, that's a miracle. So first, hearing the information is a miracle. Second, of doing my auditory processing disorder, if I do hear it, it takes me a really, really long time to process what the heck you just said. If someone says something a little complicated, I would probably look at you for longer than normal and just kind of have to work it out in my head. And that's why a lot of people think you have hearing loss when you have it, because you don't really respond, you just process it, so it looks like hearing loss, but it's not. But I also have hearing loss as well, so that always kind of coupled with it, which is extremely difficult, because if I do hear you, that's a miracle, and then when I do hear you, I struggle with what you're saying. And then I also have executive functioning disorder, and I was diagnosed with both of these comorbidity disorders. Sorry, there's a guy passing in front of my window, and I record in front of my window. That's awkward. Anyway, both of these disorders have nothing to do with each other. One was not caused by the other. But I was diagnosed with these when I was 6 years old. So my parents knew education, and they knew hey, our kid is not acting and not growing as other kids are, since I have a brother who's only a year older than me, and he has ADHD, but they didn't know that until he was older, so he never really showed any signs of not growing as a normal kid. Anyway, so my parents got me diagnosed, and in the education world, and a lot of parents I have now seen, they don't want to get their kids diagnosed. They kind of see it more as a burden, or your kid be labeled for the rest of your life. But my parents were we want our kid to be labeled. We want to get as much help as we can. This is a great thing that she's labeled, which I'm really lucky to having, because I know a lot of kids, parents don't accept their disabilities or don't want to say that they have disabilities. So my parents always expected me to, do everything the same, which is amazing. They never treated me differently. I definitely got yelled at a little more than I think I should. But yeah, I was diagnosed at 6, and when I went into first grade, I got my first set of, what are the headphones called? Sorry. I also have epilepsy that I was diagnosed at 19, and it causes memory loss. So if I kind of forget some words, that's why. So I had those headphones. It was big black, and my teacher had the box. They would wear it, and it would just go right to me. And it was a wire connected to box. I had to hold it everywhere. I remember the first time I got it, and a kid looked at me and was like, "Are you listening to the radio?" Since it had FM, it had 2 waves or channel waves on it. It was RM and then FM. Some kid was like, "Oh my god, you're so lucky you're listening to the radio." and I was so embarrassed. Technology wasn't advanced, so you had all the big, bulky technology and everything. So that was kind of my first experiences as a hard of hearing / deaf child. I then went into speech therapy almost every single day throughout elementary and middle school, and I actually did it during the summer, which sucked. Also, a lot of times kids who are hard of hearing or deaf who don't get the adequate support, they're really behind on their education. So I did go to summer school because just like trying to hear, and then my learning disabilities, I sucked at math, and I still do. Never chose a major with math. I think I got a D in college algebra. I like barely passed. It was so bad. I will never claim to be good at math. It's just my brain just can't process it. And then in middle school, I got hearing aids when I was in elementary school. So then in middle school, more technology came out, and I had this it was like this little tiny thing, probably like this size, and it connected to my hearing aids instead of wearing a box. Thank God. It connected to my hearing aids, and the teacher still wore something on their head, but like it was more conspicuous if I was wearing my hair down, which I never did because I was more of like a tomboy. And that was fine, but I hated wearing my hearing aids. I hated wearing them, so whenever like the audiologist or the person would come to me and be like, I didn't see you wearing your hearing aids, and I was like, yeah, I hate them because I have this huge thing attached to them. They were like longer than my ear too. It was so annoying. So I remember one day, so when I got my hearing aids, they were bright orange molds, and one side was red and one side was blue. And I just had fun with that as a kid. And I remember going into Staples with my mom, and this woman was just staring me down. So I looked at my mom and I was like, is my hair crazy? Like, why is this woman staring me down? And I think that was the first moment I realized, oh fuck, I am different. Because my mom was just like, some people just like to stare at hearing aids like they usually see on old people or deaf people. And then when I got older and into high school, I then more experienced I'm hard of hearing, but I don't like my hearing aids. I don't like wearing them. And I also speak like a hearing person, only some words like monopoly or just some random words I just can't pronounce because speech therapy isn't a fix for everything. And so that was more tough because I remember like telling people like, yeah, I'm hard of hearing, can you like face me? I can't hear you, like I need to read your lips, and no one believing me, especially my teachers. I'd always ask my teachers to have me in the front of the class, or like I didn't hear them, like I need help with this, and then them just not really taking it serious enough because like to them I was never deaf enough, especially not liking wearing my hearing aids. I was never deaf. Now it's kind of more, I don't know, I feel like people are just so afraid of hurting someone's feelings that they won't openly say like, I don't think you're deaf, or like you're lying. Like I had a situation where I turned my back on a guy and he got so mad. He started screaming at me and yelling at me. And then I was like, yeah, like I'm hard of hearing, like I'm sorry, like I wear hearing aids. And he was like, no, you're lying. And he's like, wait, if you're not, then I'm sorry. It's more of like they're more afraid of getting canceled in their real life. And so it's still there. It's just a lot more subtle to people looking in, but like I kind of understand it. So now as a 22-year-old, I'm not in school anymore. I graduated college, so trying to advocate for myself. I own my own business, so I'm a great employer. I accommodate everything for myself. So I never have issues with that. It's just more on like outside people. It's kind of frustrating trying to explain to people like, yeah, I'm like actually deaf, and then they kind of just laugh, and you're just like, this is frustrating, this is awkward. But yeah, that's kind of my experience. I know everyone has different experiences. That's why I kind of wanted to create my channel, because I feel like a lot of people might have the same experience as me and just view it as either you're deaf or not. But I always like to be in that in between. So yeah, thanks guys for watching. See you guys next time.